Hello, folks. I'm Scott Stamper, the Cowboy Real Estate Agent, right here in Hampton Roads, Virginia. And today, I'm going to break down the June 26 Hampton Roads Real Estate Market update using the latest official REIN market data from May of 2026. And I'm going to tell you right up front, the headline is not market crash. The real headline is this: the Hampton Roads real estate market is showing resilience. Prices are still up, inventory is up, pending sales are up, settled sales are up, and homes are still selling in a median of 18 days. So, if you've been hearing people say the market is falling apart, or buyers have disappeared, or sellers have lost all their leverage, that is not what the actual local numbers are showing. But at the same time, this is not the crazy market we had a few years ago where sellers could price almost anything however they wanted and still expect to get multiple offers. This is a more balanced market. It is a more strategic market, and whether you are buying or selling in Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Norfolk, Suffolk, and so on, or Isle of Wight, or anywhere across Hampton Roads, you need to understand what these numbers actually mean. So let's break this down in plain English. I'm not going to use any confusing real estate talk here, and I'm definitely not going to use any scare tactics and no hype. It's just the numbers, what they mean, and how to use them if you're thinking about making a move. Now, the first number we need to talk about is the active listings. Now, in May of 2026, Hampton Roads had 5,512 active residential listings. That is up from 5,412 in April, and it is up 4.47% from May of last year, when there were 5,276 active listings. So yes, inventory is up. That means buyers have more options than they had last year, and that is important because for a long time, buyers around Hampton Roads were frustrated because there just weren't enough homes for sale. And every decent home felt like it had 5 people looking at it right off the bat. And buyers were having to make fast decisions. Some were waiving inspections, and some were offering over asking price. And some were just getting burned out because they could not find anything that actually worked. Now, the market is giving buyers a little more breathing room, but you got to listen closely. More inventory does not automatically mean a buyer's market, and it definitely does not mean prices are crashing. It simply means buyers have more choices and sellers now have a little more competition. That is the shift. Now, right here, I just want to ask you, if you're thinking about selling your home here in Hampton Roads and you want to know what your home could realistically sell for in this market, please just reach out to me. You'll find all my information in the description below. And if you give me a neighborhood specific, I'll break it down based on real local data, not a random online estimate. I'll look up your neighborhood, recent sales, active competition, buyer demand, and what is actually happening right now. And this will be with no pressure and no sales pitch. It's just a straight answer for you. Now let's talk about pending sales. Pending sales in May stood at 2,630. That is up from 2,558 in April, and it is up 5.96% from May of last year, when pending sales were at 2,482. That is a very important number because pending sales tells us buyer activity is still there. A pending sale means a buyer and a seller have agreed on a contract and the home is moving towards closing. So even though mortgage rates are still higher than a lot of buyers would like, people are still buying homes. That tells us demand has not disappeared. Buyers may be more careful and they may be more payment sensitive and they may be comparing homes more, but they are still making moves. Now that matters for sellers. Why? Because when pending sales are up nearly 6% year over year, that tells us that this is not a dead market. It is still very active. Now let's talk about settled sales. Settled sales in May totaled at 2485. That is up from 2188 in April. That is a month-over-month increase of 297 closings, or about 13.6%. And settled sales were also up 1.64% compared to May of last year, when there were 2,445 settled sales. So not only are homes going under contract, more of them are actually closing. That is another sign of a strong market. Now, does that mean every seller is getting everything they want? No. Does that mean that every home is selling fast? No. Does that mean you can overprice your home and the market will just forgive it? Absolutely not. But it does mean buyers are still active, sellers are still getting deals done, and the Hampton Roads Market is still moving. Now here is the number that everybody always wants to hear, the median sales price. Now in May of 2026, the median sales price in Hampton Roads was at $375,000. That is up from $369,900 in April, and it is up from $368,900 in May of 2025. That is a year-over-year increase of about 1.65%. So prices are still up, not by the 10 to 15% and not by the wild numbers we saw during the pandemic years, but they are still up. And that is where the word resilience really fits. Because even with more inventory, higher mortgage rates, and affordability challenges, the median sales price still increased. That tells us there is still enough buyer demand in Hampton Roads to support prices. Now, here is how sellers should hear this. This does not mean you can name any price you want. This means the market still supports strong prices when the home is positioned correctly. The right home in the right location in the right condition at the right price can still do very well. But if you overprice, ignore your competition, skip preparation, or use weak marketing, buyers may move on because now they have more choices. And when buyers have more choices, sellers have to be sharper. Now, let's talk about days on the market. The median days on the market in May was 18 days. That is down from 19 days in April, and it is the same as May of last year. So homes are still selling pretty quickly. A median of 18 days means this is not a slow market. That is less than 3 weeks, folks. And if a home is priced right, shows well, and is in a desirable area, buyers are still responding. But here's the key. The 18-day median does not mean every home sells in 18 days. It means the middle of the market is around 18 days. Some homes are selling a lot faster, and some homes are sitting longer. And usually the difference comes down to price, condition, location, and how well the home is presented. So if your home is overpriced, buyers are going to know it. They are online every night looking at the competition. They are comparing photos. They are comparing square footage. They are comparing updates. They are comparing monthly payments. And they are asking one simple question. Is this home worth it compared to everything else I can buy? That is why pricing is so important right now. Now let's talk about month's supply of inventory. The month's supply of inventory for May was 2.60. It was 2.56 in April, and it was 2.59 in May of last year. That means inventory supply is basically steady year over year. Now in simple terms, if no new homes came on the market, it would take about 2.6 months to sell through current inventory at the current pace. Now, a balanced market is usually considered somewhere around 5 to 6 months of inventory. So at 2.6 months, Hampton Roads is still not in a true buyer's market. It still leans seller favored. but it is not the extreme seller's market we had a few years ago. It is a more balanced, more normal, and more strategic. Sellers still have leverage, but buyers are not completely boxed in like they were before. Now, let's talk about new construction. Residential new construction sales through the MLS were 210 in May. That is down from 236 in April and down from 224 in May of last year. That is a 6.25% year-over-year decrease. Now that matters because new construction can affect the resale market. When builders are aggressive and they're offering incentives, rate buy-downs, closing cost help, or flexible pricing, resale sellers may have to compete with that. But in Hampton Roads, a lot depends on the specific location, because new construction in Suffolk is not the same as new construction in Virginia Beach. New construction in Chesapeake is not the same as new construction in Isle of Wight. That is why local market knowledge matters so much. Now let's zoom in on a couple of the city level notes from the REIN release. Among the 7 major cities in the region, Portsmouth recorded the largest year-over-year increase in the median sales price at 5.54%, with a median sale price of $290. Suffolk was the only major city to show a year-over-year decrease, with a median sale price falling 7.88% to $391.5. Now, in the smaller cities and counties like James City County, saw the median sales price increase to $535. And Smithfield and Isle of Wight saw the median sales price increase to $418,384. Now, why does that matter? Because Hampton Roads is not one single market. The overall Hampton Roads number gives us the big picture, but your neighborhood tells the real story. Because Virginia Beach is different from Chesapeake. Chesapeake is different from Suffolk. Suffolk is different from Norfolk, and Norfolk is different from Portsmouth. And a rural property with acreage is completely different from a condo, a townhome, or a beach property. So when someone says, how's the market? The honest answer is it depends where you are, what you own, what price range you're in, and what competition looks like. That is why you cannot rely on national headlines. You need local numbers. Now, let's break this down if you're a seller. If you own a home in Hampton Roads and you are thinking about selling in 2026, this market still gives you an opportunity because prices are up year over year. Pending sales are up, settled sales are up. Homes are still selling with a median of 18 days, and inventory is still low enough that we are not in a true buyer's market. That is the good news, but here's the warning. Buyers have more options now. Active listings are up, and because mortgage rates are still affecting monthly payments, buyers are being careful. They are not just asking, do I like this house? They are asking, can I afford this payment? That means if your home is overpriced even by a little bit too much, buyers may hesitate. Now, and if they hesitate, your home, it's going to sit. And when your home sits, buyers start asking questions. They wonder if there's something wrong with it. They wonder if the seller is unrealistic. They wonder if they can come in with a lowball offer. That is why your first 2 weeks on the market matter so much. You want to come out strong from day one with good pricing, good photos, good presentation, good marketing, and a clear plan. The goal is not just to list your home, the goal is to launch it properly. Now let's talk to buyers. If you are buying a home in Hampton Roads, this market is better than it was in some ways. You have more homes to choose from. You may not have to feel quite as rushed on every single listing. And depending on the home, the price, the seller's motivation, you may have more room to negotiate than buyers had in the past. But do not mistake more inventory for no competition. The best homes are still moving. The median days on the market is 18 days. That means if the right home hits the market and it is priced correctly, you still need to be ready. That means getting pre-approved before you start shopping seriously, knowing your monthly payment, understanding taxes, insurance, HOA fees, and closing costs, and being honest about what you can afford. Because in this market, affordability is still the biggest issue for a lot of buyers. Mortgage rates are still higher than a lot of people hoped they would be by now, and that affects the payment. A buyer may be able to afford the price of the home on paper, but the monthly payment may be a little tighter than expected. That is why buyers need a clear plan before they start looking. Now here is my honest read of the Hampton Roads Market for June. This is not a crash. This is not a runaway boom. This is a resilient market that is becoming more balanced. Inventory's up. Prices are still up. Pending sales are up. Settled sales are up. Days on the market is still low. And monthly supply is still below what we would normally call a balanced market. So if you are a seller, the opportunity is still there, but your strategy matters. If you are a buyer, you have more options, but you still need to be prepared. The people who win in this market are the people who do not just listen to the national headlines. They look at the local data. They understand their neighborhood. They price correctly. They prepare properly, and they make decisions based off facts and not fear. So, here is the bottom line. The Hampton Roads real estate market is showing resilience. Even with more inventory and higher mortgage rates, the market is still moving. Homes are selling, buyers are buying, sellers are closing, and prices are still holding strong. So if you're thinking about selling, do not guess at your price. Get a real local home value breakdown. If you're thinking about buying, do not go into the market with blinders on. Get a clear plan before you start. And if you want help understanding what these numbers mean for your specific situation, please just reach out to me. I'm Scott Stamper, the Cowboy Real Estate Agent. All my information is in the description below. And I work with a lot of people to help them buy and sell homes and land throughout the Hampton Roads area, including all the major cities in the surrounding areas. You just call me, text me, or send me a message, and I'll give you a straight answer about what is happening in your neighborhood today. Hey, and if this video helped you, please just hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and share it with somebody who's thinking about buying or selling in the Hampton Roads area today. I'm Scott Stamper. Catch you down the road.